A few years ago, I attended an estate sale with one of my friends. Having checked out the contents online, we were excited about the deals we were going to find there. So we were in line with almost 100 other people, all waiting to go on this little mini treasure hunt. In fact, we were numbers 83 and 84 on the list. Well, after waiting for about half an hour, it was our turn to enter. I headed to the kitchen where I milled about with other interested people. And as I made my way back toward the living room and down the hallway toward the bedrooms, I was struck with a sinking realization. Someone had recently passed away. And while walking down the hallway, I began to feel a little odd. I hadn't allowed myself to consider the deeper meaning behind an estate sale. Someone is selling the belongings of a person who recently died. I then thought to myself, this is all that's left? You're here and then you're gone, and all that's left are your belongings, your purses, your dresses. I hadn't known the woman who lived there. I only saw female clothing and belongings, but I imagined she had a web of relationships. She must have had an impact on the people around her. She likely left a meaningful legacy. I was one of dozens of strangers who had come to purchase her leftover belongings at a discount, but the people who knew her carry her true essence in their hearts. And as I'm sharing this, I'm realizing it might feel a little bit like a downer, and I'm sorry about that, but I want to help us get in touch with the nature of our presence in this world. I want us to consider our impact and what we might be leaving behind. When I was pondering this, it got me thinking about our trip to Israel quite a few years ago. We joined in on a tour and we had an amazing time. You know, there's always archaeological digs going on over there as experts are learning new things about people from history. But when you think about it, we were mostly perusing ruins, places where people had lived and died. On one of those tour days, we visited yet another site filled with more monochrome remnants of another moment from history. We even had to ride a high-wire tram to get there. But at the top, we found so much more than a pile of rocks and stone. It was Masada. If you don't know the story, you've got to Google Masada and go learn about it. It's really an amazing story. And spoiler alert, it ends with hundreds of people committing mass suicide. It's an astounding tale of the struggle for freedom from oppression. So go Google that. Back to my story. At each location on the tour, a guide told us about the inhabitants based on the structures and artifacts they left behind. And what looked like a pile of rocks was actually the former armory. And archaeologists knew this because thousands of arrowheads had been found in the area. And as our tour guide talked, again, my mind wanders. My mind wanders a lot. I like to think about things. And I was wondering, if someone came to my house 1,000 years from now, what discernible artifacts might they find among the rubble? And maybe more important, what would they think of me based on what they found? What would they deduce from me about my belongings? Now, I don't have a bunch of amazing things in my home. It really is the ordinary day-to-day stuff that tells people how I might be living. If this stuff were miraculously preserved, my books, my music collection, my family photos, my computers and their contents, my closet, my kitchen gadgets, what would it all say about me? And what would people think was important to me? It's a question worth pondering. What would people from the future know about you from a review of your belongings? Now, I know our belongings don't tell the whole story. They are simply evidence of how I chose to live my physical life in my home. My relational influence could be found in the lives of others. How do people experience me as I float in and out of their lives? Not perfectly, of course, but at least intentionally. My legacy will be that which is left behind in the hearts of people. My family first, of course, but then all the different communities of which I was a part. My friends, my neighbors, my church, my work colleagues. This is the most important and eternal aspect of my legacy. In John 15, Jesus talks about much fruit that will last. And here at Unhurried Living, we would argue that this fruit that lasts will always involve people, because people are eternal. Your intentional influence in the lives of others matters a great deal. And this is not intended as a pressure. It can be as simple as a meal made for a family welcoming a new baby, a smile down a grocery aisle, or helping your neighbor with their trash cans. Seemingly small actions can make a huge impact because goodness and kindness are important. And Mother Teresa was famous for saying, "Go home and love your family." She believed our good actions began at home. She also said something like, "Love the person in front of you." She actually ministered one at a time in love, care, and presence. And we can do the same. We can begin with our own families, and we can also simply see and love the person right in front of us at any moment. This is the beginning of legacy intentionality. So right now, I'm going to share with you 3 reflection questions and some action steps like I typically do. And I wanted to remind you that I've created a short and free ebook. It contains all these questions in there so you can print it out and take some time journaling and reflecting. So just check out the link in the description box. Here's the reflection questions. What if the artifacts of your soul could be preserved? What would that look like? Number 2. What if 1,000 years from now people could find remnants of your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs, and the behaviors that sprang from those places? What would people learn about you from the history of your actual life? And what would they determine was important to you? Now for 3 action steps. Number 1, take inventory. Walk through your home and observe what your belongings say about your values, passions, and priorities. What's taking up the most space? Name your legacy. Number 2, write down 3 qualities or values you might want to be remembered for. How are you living them now? How would people know about them in the future? Number 3, just live toward this. Choose one small way this week to embody the legacy you hope to leave, whether it's a kind word, a courageous step, or even just a moment of presence. You are crafting your legacy every single day through your choices, your words, your values, and even the ordinary rhythms of life. This isn't about pressure to perform. It's about living aligned with what truly matters to you. So take a breath and ask the deeper questions and begin again today. And I may not know what kind of legacy the woman from the estate sale left, but I do have a say in what I will leave behind. And so do you. Blessings to you as you make your way. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this, and click the notification bell so you'll know when we drop any new content. I love connecting with intentional people just like you.